So, hi guys, I'm Olivia and this is my co-host
Deima.
and we're the hosts of the podcast Panic and Me. So today we're talking about a bit of a serious topic, and again this is trigger warnings. We're going to be talking about suicide, potentially self-harm and other issues. So if that's too much from you, click away from this video, watch one of our others. So the topic today is what to do if you're worried that somebody in your life, your friend, your partner, or your family member or anyone you know is suicidal. And it's really important that we get comfortable with that word, which is suicide.
Yeah.
Or die by suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Or take their own life by suicide. So can you say die by suicide?
I've never heard that. I don't think.
Say it.
Die by suicide.
There's a reluctance there, right? It's hard to say.
Yeah.
So the first thing to say is, if you are planning to talk to somebody in your life who you're worried is suicidal, is rehearse saying the word suicide. Because using the word suicide in that conversation is really important.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this common myth, and it might be what you're thinking, I can see in your face, that some people worry that asking somebody directly about suicide will increase their chances of committing suicide, or that it's too invasive or something like that. But studies have actually shown that confront isn't the right word, but if you talk to somebody who you think is suicidal and the word suicide is used in the conversation, they're less likely to end up taking their own life. Another caveat to say is that if we do slip up in this video, we are sorry, but we don't tend to use the terminology commit suicide, because you commit a crime.
Yes.
And suicide is not a crime. Suicide is caused by illness and tremendous pain. It's not a crime, and the words committing suicide adds to the stigma. So we try to use die by suicide. Some of you might be thinking, how am I at all qualified to be talking about this? But I was trained as a crisis volunteer on the text shout line helpline shout. Sorry about that. So I've actually spoken to a lot of people that are suicidal, and I've asked these questions many times, and it's something that can be used in your own life. So the first, I'm going to take you through each one, and I'm going to kind of ask you maybe to say it back to me or how you might say it. So if you're thinking that somebody is suicidal, the first thing to do is to establish if they are. So right. What would you tend to ask, do you think?
Are you okay?
Yeah, but are you okay is probably what most people would assume.
Yeah.
But what you need to say is, I've been really worried about you. Are you thinking of suicide? Are you okay? Isn't specific enough.
Yeah.
You need to say, are you?
Because people will be like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. Are you suicidal? Not are you thinking of hurting yourself, because that could mean self-harm.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of suicide?
Yeah.
So can you say that, even though?
Are you thinking of suicide?
So it's uncomfortable, isn't
it?
It
is.
Yeah,
it is. You got to get used to it. Yeah.
You have to get comfortable saying it,
because it's like confronting the actual problem.
Yeah. But it's a really brave and important thing to do if you are worrying, and if you've sought out this video. I've been in situations where I've wanted to ask that question and I've been too afraid, and I've built up the confidence, to eventually ask it. But it's a really important question. So they might say, no, I'm having a really hard time, but no, I'm not thinking of suicide, and that's fine. Then just talk to them, listen to them. Don't be like, no, oh, okay, fine. Obviously sit by them, talk to them.
Because to the other person, it will make them think like, oh wait, am I? It's actually addressing the problem for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they might think twice.
They might say, I don't want to talk about it, and say that's absolutely fine. I'm always here if you do, and go back, a week later and ask again. I wonder, I asked you this a week ago, but I wondered how you felt about talking about it now. Have you been thinking of suicide?
Shows that you care.
Yeah,
that
so
you're actually worried about them and are willing
to kind of chase
even
it
if
up.
the first time didn't work. That's fine. Yeah, don't pressure them.
No.
Just leave it and come back in a good amount of time, and then hopefully they will open up to you, right?
Yeah, eventually, hopefully. And just the fact that you've asked, they'll feel cared for. They'll be flattered that you understood, that you noticed, and it will be.
And you might be
important.
the only person as well, so that might even bring you a bit of joy.
Yeah, that you were the one that noticed. And actually, before we move on to kind of the next stages, we might want to think about when should we ask? Are you thinking of suicide? So there's the typical signs of somebody that might be suicidal is giving away personal belongings that they care about. Somebody who's excluded themselves socially, somebody who's been, neglecting their self-care, somebody who's been, incredibly down. And actually sometimes somebody who's been incredibly down for a long period of time and then suddenly gets happy. Because some people, when they've made the decision to die by suicide, they feel a sense of relief on the days before that they do it. So if you notice that somebody has been really, really down and then they suddenly have a lift in mood, that actually might be the time to check in on how they're actually doing.
When you ask that question, are you feeling suicidal? Do you not worry that they're going to get offended?
They might, if they if they act, kind of, I don't want to talk about it. Why are you even asking that? Then just say, I'm really sorry. I was worried about you. You do know that if you are having thoughts like that, that's okay. And you can come to me and talk about it. It's, if they have a strong emotional reaction to it, it might be because they are having thoughts like that. And it scares being them defensive, that you've realised. So I would it's about you just being calm and understanding in that situation. Don't have an argument with them or anything. If they say, how dare you even think that, you can just say, I'm really sorry, but I have noticed that you've been off recently, so actually, are you okay? So you judge it really by your own. But okay, so we'll go back to the conversation. So you've asked me, go on.
Are you feeling suicidal?
And I say yes. Then what do you think you say?
I have no idea.
Yeah, so generally...
Sorry, I'm not meant to... I'm just trying to make a joke out of a uncomfortable...
No, yeah, of course. It's very normal to laugh when it's uncomfortable. Yeah, but of course.
I am not making a joke out of this. I'm just...
No, of course. Because no, it's that you go... If you went into conversation and said, are you thinking of suicide? They said yes, and you hadn't thought of it further, it would be quite jarring.
Yeah.
You don't know what to say next. You go, oh, okay. So usually the next thing we try to establish is how serious these thoughts are. So are you thinking of suicide? Yes. Then you find out if they have a plan. There you go, you do remember. So you ask, have things got so bad that you thought about how you might die by suicide? And they might go no, or they might go... So again, if they say no, then that's fine, and just talk to them like any other problem. Go on kind of just listening. Why do you want to die by suicide? How has it been for you? How can I support you? Those kinds of questions. So if you've said kind of, if you've said, have you got a plan? And they've said no, then, just explore the problem with them and just be a friend. If they say yes, then just ask them, so say they say, okay, trigger warning, obviously suicide. If they say, yes, I might overdose, yes, I'm going, X method, Y method, then say, okay, do you have access to pills? Do you have access to X, Y that you would need to carry out that plan? So if they say yes, then the first thing that you can do is remove those items. So say
ask them to remove those
ask
items.
them. So say to them, you know, could you give those pills to me to look after, because I really want to keep you safe.
Or if you're not there with them,
ask them to put it in a drawer or like away from sight, because even that can help. And you can do a similar thing with self-harming. If you're talking to a friend who's self-harming, you can ask them, you know, to put away whatever they're self-harming with, because that can really help. So after you've taken away the means that they might use, even if they don't have a plan, you can ask them if they've got anything that you can look after to just keep them safe in the moment. It's important not to, like, you know, go into panic mode, because talking about how they're feeling is really important as well. And another question that you might want to ask is kind of, have you been planning on when to do it? And they might tell you, you know, if they tell you, well, tonight, then, you know, take them to A&E. Call 111. That's a medical emergency. If they say not really, then just again talk to them about how they're feeling. But it's just about, ask them, are you thinking of dying by suicide? Yes. Okay. Do you have a plan? Yes. Okay. What with? Can I look after that for you, please? Because I want to keep you safe. And have you thought about when? Okay, if it's like, you know, imminent, then let's take you to A&E, or let's phone a helpline to get you some support.
So so say they say no plan, no idea when. How can you explore those feelings? What are the kind of questions that you could explore? Because even then you might be like, oh, I'm not sure what to say, even further.
Okay, so like, let's role play this maybe. So you know, have you been thinking of dying by suicide?
No.
I don't mean, I'm not actually asking you. Oh, do you mean no? Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying no, so that you can be like the kind of questions.
Well, if you say yes, but you don't have a plan, let's do that. Okay, so have you been thinking of dying by suicide?
Yes.
Have you thought, has it got so bad that you've thought about how?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Do you have anything that you might use to harm yourself? I'm just asking because I want to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Could I have those so that I can look after them for you, just so that I can know you're safe?
No.
For the time being. If you say no, you say that's okay, that's absolutely fine. Obviously I'm here to support you. And you know, but I do want to keep you safe. So do you think we could put those like out of sight somewhere in your drawer?
We can do that.
Okay, then we'll go and we'll do that. And then we'll say, okay, I'm really sorry to hear that you're having a difficult time. Obviously, I care about you. I know that you're, you know, a really great person, and you know, it's sad to me that you're in so much pain. But can you tell me a little bit about what you've been feeling recently? That's how I'd word it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you just explore. You just ask questions. Ask open-ended questions. You know, don't ask like yes or no questions. Except when you're asking, are you thinking of dying by suicide? Do you have a plan? Otherwise, just ask, can you tell me a little bit about that? Let them talk. Don't give too much advice, and just talk to them. And to end conversations like that, because that can be really difficult. So say we've been talking for 20 minutes, 30 minutes about how you're feeling. You've been telling me, you know, someone died, you've been going through a bereavement, or you've had a breakup, or nothing particularly has happened, you just feel really bad. Then we might go, have you got a therapist? Have you talked to your GP?
Exploring problems.
Yeah, but if they say, I don't want to talk to a therapist, I don't want to talk to a GP, don't push them too much. They are adults that can make their own decisions.
Yeah, so it's exploring ways that they can get better.
Oh, that's fine. You know, do you think if I leave you a helpline that you might be able to call them when you're feeling better? When you're feeling that you need to talk to somebody? Then just say, so, you know, suggest going to GP. If they say no, don't push things too much. And then it's just thinking about things that they can do to help themselves feel better. So, you know,
what do they enjoy doing?
What do you enjoy doing? when you're feeling down, do you think you can go for a walk? Do you think you can call me or your mum or your dad or your sister or whoever? When you're feeling bad, what TV shows do you like to watch? And then before you leave, ask, are you going to be safe tonight? If they say no, then please get them some medical help. If they say yes, I think I'm going to be safe. Thank you so much for talking to me and all of that. Say, what are you going to do when I leave? Because, when I've been in a situation where, you're really sad and the person's been great and then they leave and it's silent and all of a sudden you're on your own again. So help them make the next step, but after you leave,
something that they can do and enjoy and look forward to when you're gone.
Exactly. So just say, what are you going to do when I leave? And they might say, watch TV, and that's fine. Say, cool, watch TV, I'll text you when I'm home, let me know how you are. If it's really late, say, try to get some sleep, I'll text you in the morning. And just give them something like, I'll text you X, or I'll visit you again tomorrow.
Yeah, something to look forward to.
Something to look forward to, and something to do as soon as you leave, just so that they can cope. And just say, remind them that if they feel unsafe, they can call 999 or talk to, a helpline or a text line. So yeah. So that, I'm really sorry to anybody that needs to have these conversations with somebody in their life. But I just want to say that it takes an awful amount of bravery, and it's a conversation that can save a life.
Yeah.
So if you are thinking that somebody in your life might be feeling suicidal, then please have this conversation. And there's no perfect way to have it. Having the conversation is better than not having it at all.
Definitely.
If you don't follow these questions perfectly, that's absolutely fine.
But it's good to listen to this and practice and have ideas, and you never know when it might come in handy, because you always think, like, when it's like first aid or CPR, it's like, I'm never gonna need it kind of thing, but it's good to just know some basics.
Absolutely. And the if you take nothing else away from this video, then just take away that, ask, are you thinking of dying by suicide? And then just take the conversation from there, however that is. And I think the second important thing is to ask, do you have anything that you can hurt yourself with? Can I look after that? And other than that, the conversation can't really go wrong. It's just a case of like working with the person in the room and and doing the best that you can. So I think that kind of concludes mostly this video, and I hope it's been helpful to people, and that it can be useful. The last thing I'm going to say is, if you are worried about somebody in your life, and you want to have a conversation with somebody about how to have the conversation with somebody who's suicidal, then you can look up Papyrus online. They are preventing suicide in young people. They're a great organisation. Bring them up, talk to them about the person that you're worried about and how to have that conversation with them. And they'll
link
probably
will be in the description as
definitely well. Link will be in the description.
If this can help at least one person by watching this video, that's perfect.
Absolutely. And we will link in the description a couple of websites that I can think of from Mind, about talking to somebody who you think might be suicidal. Really hard conversation, but you can do it. It's horrible, I know from personal experience, but it's really important. So brilliant. Thank you guys for listening. Have a lovely day. Thank you. Bye.